welcome to this edition of the Boob Tube Buddies podcast, featuring our discussion of the year 2016. I am Foxman, and I'm joined by the Hillary to my Trump. What's going on, Mothman?
Oh, God. I'm Hillary?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'm okay with that, right? You know,
I'm just trying to keep it topical. This is, what we're going to do here is break down all of our favorite and maybe some of our least favorite things of the year. So, expect a couple of political jokes. We're not going to sit here and, finger wagging anybody, but we're keeping it topical.
Yeah, we are going to keep it topical. I'm very, very excited to do this show. I'm going to apologize early for the fact that there apparently is, a level 5 hurricane going on behind me, and might pick up a little.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus, I thought 2017 was going to shape up to be better, but anyway.
No way. You're like one of those reporters that you see on news fails where shit is just blowing out,
I'm gonna get
all
knocked
sorts
over
of
by
debris hitting him.
Yeah. Just anyway, I don't know where you are in the intro because it's been so long since we've done this. We've had a 2.5 week break. Have you said about social medias and such?
Okay, good point. Yes. For those of you joining us for the first time, or those of you who just haven't taken any sort of effort at all to follow us on any of our social media sites, you can just look at, cool Catholic guilt trip.
Yeah, man.
So you can join in on the conversation at Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Reddit, or at www.boobtubebuddies.com. And then you just search out Boob Tube Buddies. And honestly, if you've listened to any of our podcasts, you know that anytime anybody writes in, we basically roll out the fucking red carpet. We go through and we give them shout outs. We send them all sorts of free merchandise. That doesn't happen. No. We have them on for interviews. That actually does happen.
Yeah.
We really like interacting with our fans.
And we get them a CD truck stop blowjob.
Yeah, exactly. On the bus mall. Have you ever heard that Decemberist song?
Not by that lyric. I don't think so.
Well, I'm not singing anymore. But that's basically what it's about.
Oh, I thought you were saying, I said the first lyric, CD truck stop blowjob, and then you just sang the next line.
Well, that's kind of what the song's about, is giving blowjobs in it. I'm really cracking it up to be a great song. But, it's actually a pretty solid one.
Okay, fair enough.
Let's real quick we'll go over some of the shows that we did this year, but currently we're covering Black Mirror from Netflix, which is fucking awesome. So I'm covering that with my wife, Bethany, and we have... we have people from the Black Mirror subreddit coming on episodes. We have Michael with Preacher Don't Preach doing it, and it's been a lot of fun. And then upcoming, we have Taboo, Big Little Lies, and then we're going to be covering a shitload of stuff this year. I'm sure we're going to do Game of Thrones and other stuff like that.
Yeah. So this year, it'll be interesting to see what all we do. Nathan and I might do Legion. Probably do some sort of season recap of the OA instead of episode by episode, especially because it seems to be self-contained. They don't really have plans for a sequel. I personally am really looking forward to watching Taboo, so I imagine once we see the pilot, we'll decide if we want to dive into it. I just love Tom Hardy.
Me too. He's fucking awesome.
Right? So the other thing I wanted to share is the gift guide. Since all holidays forever are over at this point, I will switch that up to a best of 2016 type of thing. So a lot of the stuff we're going to talk to this episode that I'll post tomorrow, within a day or so of you listening to this, you should be able to quickly go buy some of the things we mentioned if you haven't been able to see them yet.
Yeah, so basically you'll just go to our website. We'll have that list up. And if you click on them, if you were going to buy them anyway, let's say there's a movie that we end up talking about on here, like Deadpool or something like that, and you liked it, and you're like, oh, you know what, I meant to buy it. Then you can click it through the link. We get a little payout. It doesn't cost you any extra. But anyway, enough shilling. I think it's going to be time for our first little segment here, which is aptly titled Summon It Up in a Tweet, which basically it's 144 character or less breakdown, and we are doing the whole year. So, without further ado, here is Summon It Up in a Tweet.
Oh yeah, we're summon it up, so summon it up, summon it up, oh yeah, we're summon it up, oh yeah, we're summon it up, so summon it up, summon it up and up. tweet.
And then
Mothman. I love that I sent you the first like raw audio file of me singing that, and you're like, "We got to do something with this." Like, it's a fucking
I
nightmare.
am glad you front loaded it with it was supposed to be intentionally bad, because otherwise I don't know how I would have navigated that.
Well, I mean, I don't know how you would.
So, yeah.
There's no way you would have listened to that and thought, "Oh, that's him trying his best."
Yeah. I mean, like, had we not already done musical stuff, like, just for, since we've known each other,
That's true.
It was just some random like, say if Devin just sent me something, and I was just like, oh, I don't know how to break it to him. I just don't know how
This
to
guy's
deal
a
with
fucking monster.
Yeah. Anyway, I
You
guess
started off, buddy, because this is your first summon it up in a tweet, I think.
second. We did one for the Westworld special, right?
I don't think that we had come up with summon it up in a tweet then. If anything, it would have been Rogue One.
Rogue One, then. Yes. Rogue
Okay,
One, we did
gotcha.
it for sure. Yeah. Okay, we did it.
Okay, so, all right, fire it off, man. I'm really excited to see what you got here.
All right. My idols are dead. My enemies are in power. But the podcast we started this year is the tits. Hashtag Boob Tube Buddies. Hashtag all puns intended. Hashtag 2017 you owe us.
Oh my god, that was really good, man. Nice job.
Thank you. I did have a much shorter one that also I thought was a little crass, and maybe I wouldn't share it all. But then I was like, you know what? Whatever. We're just that kind of show. Which is,
God.
Why couldn't the guy from Drowning Pool have just died again?
The guy from Drowning Pool? What is Drowning Pool?
Do you not remember Drowning Pool?
I don't know what that is.
Let the bodies hit the flow. Let the bodies hit the wah. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
he died of like an overdose 2 years ago.
Nothing wrong with me. 2. Nothing wrong with me. 17. Nothing
Yeah,
wrong
exactly.
with me.
Anyway, the joke was like, couldn't he just keep dying?
Damn. Oh, his body hit the floor many times?
Yeah.
That is so crass.
It is pretty crass, right? But I mean, whatever.
All right, you want a slightly more uplifting summon it up in a tweet?
Sure. I mean, to be fair, I said our podcast was the tits, which was a pun.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Your first one was very nice. I liked it.
Okay.
Okay, here it is. 2016. Great year for TV. Boob Tube Buddies begins. Older celebrities end. Memes on the rise. Bernie and Hillary go down. Millie Bobby Brown. And that is Summon It Up in a Tweet.
All right. My goodness. That was pretty good.
Hey, thanks, man.
Yeah, so it's a nice little exercise, especially as someone, actually as both of us who just aren't that Twitter minded. It's nice to get the pressure for this artisanal crafted tweet that we have to put in there.
I don't think that I would. I mean, I didn't use Twitter before we started doing the podcast. I've had a Twitter account for years, but I barely ever used it. I mean, I really just use, and now it is fun to interact with fans on there, like Brookie, Shy, and I'm starting to get into it a little bit more. I mean, still for me, nothing compares to Reddit. I fucking love my little Reddits.
Absolutely. Well, and for me, my biggest thing with all of like whether it's Reddit, or Twitter or Facebook, all of them I've always pretty much just used to lurk on. Like, my thing has never really been replying or interacting with anyone. Just
oh my god, you neckbeard creep son of a bitch.
Yeah. But then someone wrote me into a show where I talked to them for a whole hour.
What? Oh, me?
Yeah. So I basically forced outside of work to interact with people again. So thanks, man.
Oh my god. Wait, so you're saying that like, oh my god. So you're saying that like it's a good thing?
I mean, it's got to be, right?
Interacting with people?
Yeah, like I don't have to enjoy it for it to be a good thing for me.
I just realized I belched. That did not come through on the mic, did it?
I didn't hear it.
I was just like so comfortable and casual with you. I totally forgot we're on air.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, with the torrential downpour, maybe no one heard it.
Oh god. For what it's worth, I can't hear it, so I'm sure you're fine, little buddy.
That's good. I'm glad. All right, so let's move in to our first best of, which is favorite movies.
Damn.
Oh shit! I'm pretty excited. So if you know me, you know I'm not very decisive, especially when it comes to movies. and people like
don't you
to
fucking
ask
do
me,
it.
People like to ask me like, hey, what's your favorite movie? I'm like, well, you should probably ask like for genre, and then I'll still be like, well, maybe sort it by decade. So all I did,
oh my god, you're so just exhausting.
all I did just to make it super simple was pick 3 movies per genre.
You
so just
fucking sack of shit. No, you did not.
Adventure, romance, horror, thriller, sci-fi, indie. So, it should be like a 5-minute segment.
You fucking cocksucker. Before we went on air, I was saying, oh man, it was so hard to pick my top 3. And he's like, yeah, I have like 9. I was like, you fucking cocksucker, you told me to pick 3. I sat there laboring over it, like crossing one out, like going back and like watching trailers of the movies to like see, like to get the feeling back again. And then he's like, no, I picked 9. You fucking cocksucker.
I mean, to be fair, I was trying to whittle it down because I had this list, and then legitimately you told me you had 3 pages of notes because you're like, I'm not sure how prepared you are. Hint, hint. So then, like I have 3 notes or 3 pages of notes. In which case I'm like, well, then what's the point of whittling it down? These are my goddamn notes.
Oh
anyway,
my god.
So my first category, and this really to me is like, I'm gonna pick one on air. I'm gonna do the whittling down, but just for animation in general, because I'm a huge animation nut. And I haven't seen a decent amount. Like I haven't seen Moana yet or anything like that. But it was kind of a tie between Kubo and the 2 strings, and then Zootopia. I picked Kubo and the 2 strings just because the stop motion is just so weird and haunting and exquisite, and it's a really cool story on top of that. And you just get so few stop motion films compared to CGI. But God, I love me some Zootopia.
I mean, the thing is Zootopia is one of those movies, it's made for the masses, but it actually just has like a really sweet and profound message to it about inclusion and the way that these awful stereotypings work out with like different races. And it's like, it's a really big message wrapped up in like just a really pretty, glossy, animated movie for children, basically.
Yeah, no, I thought they did such a good job with it because it works on so many levels. Like as an adult, you can appreciate the complexities of the message and how relevant it is to the real world. But at the same time, as a kid, even a younger kid, for the most part, you can just enjoy it. I will say...
Oh, my daughter's 7. She absolutely loved that film.
I will say my niece, who is 6, and loves animated films, loves Frozen and all that stuff, terrified of the movie.
Really? Oh,
really
savage
liked it.
Parts.
Exactly. Really liked it until it was like all the rabid animals towards the end, and that never wanted to see it again type thing. But all in all, just a fantastic movie, and I'd highly recommend both those. Were there any other like animated movies that you went and saw with the kids that really stood out to you this year?
I mean, I didn't go see it with the kids. God, I fucking definitely did not go see it with the kids.
Sausage Party?
Sausage Party.
Was it good? I still have to see it. I'm dying to see it.
No, but it is really funny. I mean, it's really funny, but I went and saw it with Jables, one of our mutual friends, in theater, and it's just not worth going and seeing in theater. I mean, it's good looking animation, and it's funny. It's all the characters that you like from that, little brat pack or rat pack or whatever you would call that little clique.
Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, but it's just not, I mean, it's not like a good movie or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like all their movies, there's plenty of them that I love, right? Like I love 40-Year-Old Virgin. I love Knocked Up. I love Superbad.
I actually really love This Is the End too, surprisingly.
Well, that was the one I was going to say. Like, This Is the End. I've heard some people just fucking despise it. I thought it was funny. I don't think I'd ever watch it again. There's a lot of movies in that camp where it's a movie they did. I enjoyed it for the hour and a half it lasted, but I'm also not going to rewatch it. I thought the concept was funny. It was also a year though of 3 post-apocalyptic comedies, because there's that one, there was The World's End, the Simon Pegg one that I liked better, and then there was also that Stephen Carell holding hands at the end of the world movie.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I never ended up seeing that one.
We should just keep talking
we're
about movies from 2 years ago.
that defeats the purpose. Okay, so you had like 50 other categories of movies that you wanted to use to cheat the system that you set up for all the rest of the Boob Tube Buddies people to use.
Oh, I love when we get to the Betties clip. They're just like, we don't really watch movies. Like, here are some that we saw. it's very much not a. I think you're the only one that took this. I mean, to be fair, I did send a dossier out to everyone with like explicit rules, but you're the only one that followed them.
Yeah, I fucking listen when somebody asks me nicely to do something.
Even Devin just like, he sent me the list and it was just like 2 of everything. I'm like, well, which is 1 and which is 2? And then where are the third? She's like, those ones are tied for first, but here's the third one.
Tied for first, you fuckers. Right? I hate all of you.
So the other movie, like, I'm just going to give you my 3 favorites, not first, second, third. So Kubo and the Two Strings. In the horror realm, I watch plenty of horror throughout the year. I always kind of do. There's 3 that stood out. Green Room, Don't Breathe, and The Witch. Did you see any of these?
No, none of them.
Okay, so Don't Breathe is kind of like It Follows, which, by the way, just hit Netflix, which is one of the best horror movies from last year. It got critical acclaim, really enjoyable. It is, I mean, essentially a home invasion movie to an extent, but with a blind dude that fights back, and it just gets, like, very close quarters, like, very intense. Green Room, though, is just, like, I think almost anyone would enjoy this movie, even if you're not a horror fan, because it feels like a claustrophobic, like, action movie. But it's basically this punk band goes to play at a club which has a heavy white supremacist following they didn't realize, and so they play a punk song like "Fuck You to Nazis," and a bunch of people get mad, and then they witness something they shouldn't, and then they're basically trying to escape.
I've actually heard of that one.
And that one's great. It's got Patrick Stewart as the head of the, like, white supremacist, and he does a fucking awesome job, because usually you don't see Patrick Stewart as villains. Like, you usually see him as, a proper Englishman.
Yeah.
Very different role. And then that would be my hands down favorite horror movie. And the reason I pick it mainly is because I would rewatch it. If you like traditional, like, witch stories, like, set in the olden times, the movie The Witch is really weird.
Okay.
I will say it's the only time I've seen a witch on a broom where it was legitimately scary.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. All of them are not for the weak of heart, though. They're like, hard R ratings. But Green Room,
I think the only horror
pick.
movies that I watched was, and I don't think either of them counts, are The Purge, Election Year, and The Shallows.
Shallows I didn't see. Julia watched. Purge we watched. Definitely the weakest of the 3. The second one was the best.
Yeah. The thing with the Purge movies is that I can completely set aside, like, that part of me that likes to be critical of things that I'm watching and just enjoy it. Like, it's fun. They're dumb. All of them, I think, are pretty dumb. This one particularly dumb, but honestly, it might have been the most fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the third one. So the first one had the big name actors in it, and the concept was cool, but it was okay on execution. The second one to me was the most fun. Election Year, there was just such terrible acting in it. Which, it's not like I'm looking for, like, award-winning acting, but, like, I'm trying to remember, but the girls that are in the convenience store in the beginning that end up, prowling the streets, like, are just the most over-the-top, like, soap opera actors.
I know, it's really bad.
Still had a fun, hour and a half with it, like, a dumb movie, but I didn't walk away saying, like, I didn't walk away from the first 2 with that kind of bad taste in my mouth.
Let me also say The Shallows, while the premise of that sounds like it could be an absolute piece of shit, and I mean, it's no Citizen Kane, but for what it is, and just simply, like, going into it, and I had no preconceived notions of it at all, it was actually pretty enjoyable. I mean, it's not anything that's going to change your life or stick with you years later, but it's just a fun hour and a half of television. Like, the way it's shot is interesting. The shark looks amazing, and it's just fun. Yeah.
My favorite movie along those lines, where it's kind of like the strung out and trying to escape, is Open Water. But Open Water is, like, super low budget, so it's hard for a lot of people to watch. But it's a pretty like on the edge of your seat movie.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. All right, and then my last category I was choosing between was basically
Jesus fucking Christ.
I've picked 2 movies. I've just told you about a bunch. I picked 2. I picked Green Room and Kubo. But then blockbuster movie, basically any of the big special effects movies there. The 3 really stood out: Civil War, Deadpool, and Doctor Strange. If I had to pick one, I would do it based on, with all these really, like, what am I going to revisit? I feel like I'm going to be more likely to revisit Doctor Strange just because of like the trippiness of it, the Eastern mythology, all that stuff that I'm really into. Whereas Civil War, like I will probably rewatch it at some point, but ultimately the new movies are going to continue that storyline, and I'll kind of feel like that keeps getting hashed up. Whereas Doctor Strange, I feel like is going to be a smaller piece of most of these movies, so his will have a little more to go back to.
To me, without a doubt, the best of those movies is Deadpool. I actually really like all those movies, and even in my top 3, we'll get to it, but Deadpool is one of my top 3. Like, it just, I mean, for what it is, it's so surprising. It's just unique and funny, and they took, like, this thing that every other studio is doing, like, putting out these like the comic book movies and stuff, but it's so raunchy, it's so self-effacing. It just like the line where he says something about McAvoy or Stewart when he's talking about Professor X is just like so fucking funny.
Yeah, I will say, is in terms of, if I was picking it based on like nailed the concept the best, it would be Deadpool, and I did love the film. Deadpool is phenomenal. It didn't surprise me in the way that Civil War and Doctor Strange did, and I think it's because they did such a good job keeping it like the comics, because all the comics is him breaking the third wall, talking to the reader, making jokes, many of them about comic books and the ridiculousness of it. I was thrilled with how seamless they made that, and instead he's making jokes about how silly comic book movies are. So I do love that movie, and honestly all 3 of those I will probably rewatch at some given point, but Doctor Strange is my pick.
All right, what is worse out of, let's say with the genre, what's worse out of X-Men Apocalypse and Batman vs Superman?
Definitely.
And you know
Batman
what, throw in
versus
Suicide
Superman.
Squad. Rank the 3 of them.
Suicide Squad is the worst.
Okay.
Batman and Superman second worst, and then X-Men Apocalypse, the weakest of the newer X-Men movies, but overall, like, I for the most part enjoyed it. It's not a like Wolverine Origins or X-Men 3, which are just pieces of shit. So I don't plan on seeing it again, but it wasn't torment to watch it.
Yeah, you know what? To me, I think it's worse than both of those piece of shit movies that you were saying. I mean, I guess I kind of enjoyed it watching it. I'll never watch it again. Whereas all the other ones I've seen at least a couple of times, all like on TV or this and that. But like, man, what a fucking misuse of Oscar Isaac. He is such a talented actor, and I didn't even realize that was him. Like, all the shit that they put on him. I mean, why even put him in that role? He couldn't emote at all. And the way his voice was. And
to me, like, the thing is, what's his name? Apocalypse is like this epic X-Men villain. There's basically 2 epic X-Men villains, Magneto and Apocalypse, that are well known, Juggernaut being kind of like this lesser third. So it's one that I think every fan's kind of wanted to see in the movies. And truthfully, I just think he should have been... and I'm not one to say this, I like practical effects. I think they tried to pull off this balancing act where they they do less practical effects and makeup so they can emote, but at the same time, it's not what you're wanting from that actor. I feel like this is one of the rare cases where like it should have just been a hulking CGI with a voice.
Well, I mean, take for example Lee Pace as who's the bad guy that he is in Guardians of the Galaxy with the hammer, or like the staff.
He's Ronan.
Like, to me, I thought that he was really good in that role. Can you not hear me?
Nope, I cut out, but you're back.
Okay.
I wrote it down. Okay.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so I'll just ask that question again, okay?
Okay.
All right, so to me, Lee Pace from Guardians of the Galaxy is actually like really good in the Ronin role. I mean, don't you think that to me, like they just did a better job pulling that off? Not that he's even a better actor than Oscar Isaac. In fact, I definitely don't think that, but it's just done better.
I would agree. But I mean, man, Guardians just did everything so well.
Yeah, it really did.
You know what I mean? Like that's a complaint of multiple complaints of X-Men Apocalypse. You know, it was just a movie that, especially with the prior track record, in my opinion, was not firing anywhere near like on all cylinders.
Okay, so your top 3 movie list that you asked everybody to do just took about 25 minutes. Can I go through what my top 3 favorite movies are in 25 seconds?
You can, but I mean, you're acting like there wasn't the intro that was at least 8 minutes, and then the summing it up in a tweet.
I don't know what you're saying.
Okay, all right, let's do this. Speed round, go.
Okay. In order of my favorite to my third favorite, I have 10 Cloverfield Lane was the most fun that I had in a movie the entire year. I knew nothing about this movie going into it. I just happened to go on a whim to the theater. I had just gotten like a gift card last year. I went and saw it. Really fucking enjoyed it. It's probably the first time I'd seen a movie without a trailer in a fucking decade. So that one was at the top for me. I have Deadpool second because, again, that was just the most fun movie experience maybe I've had all year. And then, I mean, I'm not like a cinephile, so fuck you for judging, but Rogue One was my third.
I was actually surprised that doesn't hit Nathan's, simply because he is such a big Star Wars fan. And hey, I liked Rogue One, as we discussed for an hour last week. I was actually like, there's a lot of good movies this year. Let's put it that way.
There are, yeah.
Right? I will say 10 Cloverfield Lane, saw it in theaters, really enjoyed it. Also, I had this weird relationship with it. I didn't know nothing about it. I saw the very first teaser that's just like, John Goodman slamming the door. It reveals very little. But I am a huge fan of Cloverfield, which was also a Bad Robot, like J.J. Abrams flick. And all I kept seeing was headlines that how are they related? There's supposed to be Easter eggs in the poster. Didn't read what the Easter eggs were. Didn't actually do research into it. Just had the like idea in my mind as headlines. So I really dug it. I thought where it's kind of like Saw was for me. I thought the last bit is where it kind of fell apart. You know what I mean? Like I just love her trying to escape, that whole environment and relationship, and then wish it kind of just ended with her escaping.
But see, to me, it was like Cabin in the Woods. All of a sudden, it just goes
Cabin in the
like...
Woods is a perfect movie. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so to me, that's how the end felt to me. Was that Cabin in the Woods sort of like... Well, like we've got this really small, contained, very intense story, and then all of a sudden, it just literally the roof is blown off this thing, and it's just fucking crazy, like monster, robot, like type stuff like that. I don't know. It was fun.
And I guess maybe what would have gotten both things done for me, because I don't mind like that giant like kind of twist thing, is if it was the monster or a very similar looking monster from Cloverfield. Because right now it's just like this weird coincidence. Like, why call it Cloverfield Lane, the same name of that monster? Like, where's the actual connection? Why not just have it be its own weird thing? And I guess maybe just the implication that was part of this mythology we've already seen and then didn't deliver on that was more than anything what let me down at the end. But still, a really fun movie, and like the acting, the tensity, like it was great.
I think we've gone through our favorite movies now, right? Like, did you get out all the ones that you had? That sounded really condescending. Are you done with your long movie? Or hold on. Have you wrapped up your bit? Have you wrapped up your bit?
I fucking hate when you say bit.
Oh, did you listen to Bethany and I's thing then?
Yeah.
That's funny. Good for you. I didn't know that you listened.
Well, I mean, I edit them, so I hear bits and pieces, and every now and then...
Don't you dare say bits, and don't you dare say pieces.
Every now and then, as I'm listening, I just keep listening, because, that tangent that's currently happening is entertaining. So,
gotcha.
Anyway, I do have to cover romantic comedy still.
Oh, god damn it.
Okay. Anyway, I think now would probably...
Okay.
Yeah, I was. I think now would probably be a good time, though, to go to the Betties.
Throw it to the Betties, follow it up with an Audible ad, and then let's get right back into this bitch and let's talk some TV.
Long time no podcast, buddy.
No.
We are your Boob Tube Betties.
Hi.
Hi. Here, cheers, my friend.
Clink to the drink. It's been a while since we did that.
I know.
It feels so good.
Feels so good. We are talking.
Reunited. And
Thank
it
you.
Feels so good.
I'm like, there's a song here, and all I have is feel so good. We are talking our 2016 top 3 moments.
Fibs, yes.
You want to start?
Sure. I think you and I came to the unanimous decision that neither of us have really watched any movies this year.
Wait, so we have no input for any movies. We have children.
We have children, we work a lot, and it turns out we love TV.
So we're just doing our top 3, mine aren't even top 3 TV moments. They're just memorable TV moments.
TV or
that I
movie?
have. Do you have movies?
I got both. I was told to come prepared for both.
Oh, that Adam, that Boob Tube Buddy, he's a real slave driver.
He's a real stickler.
Wait, you go ahead and start with movies.
Okay, well, like I said, I wouldn't necessarily call them all my favorite since I only saw less than a handful. But I saw Money Monster with George Clooney, Deadpool.
Loved Deadpool.
Deadpool was awesome.
I was in the same predicament you were, and Deadpool was one of my movies.
When I saw like the list of 2016, I'm like, okay, Deadpool. Yes, I like that movie a lot.
Deadpool was awesome.
I did see My Big Fat Greek Wedding too, but that's nothing to write home about, honestly.
Cute.
It's not the first one. It has what Lauren says is the sequel thing where they just go way too over the top. So
It would be too old to have that daughter, by the way.
yes, exactly. But my absolute favorite movie of 2016 is the ESPN special OJ Made in America. It is technically a movie, and I've watched it over and over again. It's so in depth with no bias.
It's not the Ryan Murphy.
Not the Ryan Murphy one. This is literally a documentary from day one, not just the trial, but who he was starting out and how it got him to where he was,
Cool.
as well as history going on throughout. No bias. It's really cool from all sides.
Yeah.
Really good. So that's that.
That's that.
That's that.
Well, I'll go ahead and give you my TV.
Yeah.
My TV stuff. So, biggest letdown. The X-Files remake.
I never watched it.
Oh, X-Files was my favorite growing up. My first Hollywood crush, Fox Mulder, and then I watched Red Shoe Diaries, and I felt a heartbeat in my crotch. It was the first
You like
time
a little
I knew
Duchovny?
puberty had hit. Yes, I loved me some Duchovny, and I was so excited for this remake, and it was awful. It was stupid. It was silly, and Gillian Anderson has had so much plastic surgery that
Absolutely.
you couldn't tell any of her facial expressions.
Yep.
Looked great, but can't be an actress anymore because her face doesn't move.
Yep.
I was
And you need
bummed out.
emotions for acting.
I was so bummed. I don't even know if I watched every episode.
Well, that
It really
disappoints me because
sucked.
I was actually looking to go back and watch the X-Files
Don't.
so I could see the reboot.
Don't waste your time. Well, watch the original X-Files. The original X-Files
Definitely.
is awesome, but don't watch that shit.
Okay, I can do that.
Saddest moment, Game of Thrones, the episode Hold the Door, Hodor dies.
I was sobbing.
Oh my god. Hodor!
The whole
Hold
season was
door!
ridiculous, but that episode in particular,
Oh, so good. Good but awful, and who doesn't love them some Hodor? Didn't you take one of those personality quizzes and you're a Hodor?
yep, I am a Hodor, so I took it personally. So,
And then best thing ever that spans every kind of category you can cover, Stranger Things,
Yes,
period.
absolutely.
Best
The
thing to
end.
happen to TV, Netflix.
it's on my favorite list. Oh yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of stuff to come out this year that's really groundbreaking in my opinion.
Yeah.
Westworld, Stranger Things, definitely, and my new favorite, which I haven't gotten 100% through, but most through, is Black Mirror. So,
Yeah, which we are reviewing.
well, we cover
the
all of
Buddies review.
those, but
So do you have a list?
well, Westworld, Stranger Things, Black Mirror,
Yeah.
and my personal new favorite to me, because I had never watched it before, I binge watched The Walking Dead. I am a new fan, and I love it so much.
2016 was awesome, and we cannot wait to bring you more good stuff in 2017. Am I right?
You are right.
See you later, little buddies.
See you later, little Betty.
Whoa there, little buddies. Gus McFoxman here. Welcome to your Every Desire Realized is brought to you by the good fellas at Boob Tube Buddies. They're cooking up new dick and fart jokes as we speak. Me? I'm just over here enjoying this book, Lonesome Dove, one of the great classic Western tales. A whole damn series to be precise. Watch your step there, partner.
This is so stupid. Shut the fuck up, Mothman. I'm doing this, goddammit.
Sorry about that. You can go to www.audibletrial.com/boobtubebuddies to get your free month's trial. It's free for you, and it's a great way to support the podcast. Don't squat on your spurs, little buddies.
And we are back. Thank you to the Betties for your little segment. It's nice to see that Deadpool is pretty unanimously enjoyed, as well as Stranger Things and Westworld. But let's get moving on into the best of TV, shall we?
Nope. Before we get to that, I have a little game for you, Mothman. You ready?
Oh my god, it's been so long since we've done a game.
I know, that's what I figured. If we're doing a best of 2016, games have been... I mean, for some of the heavier shows we've done, we didn't do games because we didn't really have time, but... With this one, I mean, fuck it. We're on our own terms here. So, you ready for it?
I am ready for it.
It's simply just called 3 of 5, okay?
Okay, like rock, paper, scissors?
Sort of, yes. But
That would be best of
basically,
three, anyway.
I just have, I have 3 different lists for you, and I have the top 5 for those lists, and you're just going to have to guess any 3 of them. And if you don't, you have a punishment.
So it's kind of like Family Feud?
Yeah, basically, kind of.
Where like you give me a thing and then I say, what is toothpaste? And you say, oh, survey says.
Okay, well, let's just, you know what? We'll see how it goes. All right, you
Oh
ready?
man, is toothpaste already one of the answers? I knew it.
Well, if you want to use that as one of your guesses,
No,
you're
all right,
welcome
let's
to.
go.
So, most downloaded TV shows for 2016, and this is illegally downloaded using BitTorrent, okay? So I need 3 of the top 5 most downloaded illegally TV shows for 2016. This is the easiest one, by the way.
Okay. Game of Thrones, Westworld, Walking Dead.
God damn, that is 1, 2, 3.
Damn, son.
All right. Can you get 4 and 5, just out of curiosity?
Those are big crowd pleasers. I'm trying to think. American Horror Story.
No.
I'm trying to think what other big shows happen.
Flash and The Arrow.
Of course I wouldn't get those. I didn't know people even watched them.
I wasn't going to let you sit there and flounder with it for a while. And by the way, because I'm not going to bring it up again later, just because December fucking blows for TV, I've been going through the first 2 seasons of Flash on Netflix. Pardon me. If you've ever gone through and started Flash and you thought, oh my god, this is a shitty CW show, and I fucking hate CW shows.
Thanks, Negan.
Yeah, I threw my shoulders all the way back. Actually, I cracked my back while I was doing it. But The Flash, I will say, actually gets pretty tolerable about 14 episodes in.
Well, I will say that Jason Mewes talked Kevin Smith into watching it. And now Kevin Smith is directing episodes of it. And he said it was one of those things where he would keep texting Mewes about references to Arrow that he wasn't planning on watching. And by the time this first season ended, he was hooked. And then the second season, he said, was phenomenal. So, I don't know. It'll have to be a bad season for television for me to get something that's worth 14 episodes in to get good. But it's on my radar slowly and surely. People are chipping away.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not one. I'm not staking my reputation on telling somebody to go watch it. But okay, you ready for number 2? Nice job, by the way.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so this is just simply the 5 highest grossing movies of the year. So you just have to name 3 of them. I think this is super easy.
Do they have to be released this year or simply be still in theaters when the air rolled around?
They had to have been released in 2016. I don't fucking know. I just copy this shit from online.
So Force Awakens isn't on there, right?
Force Awakens is December of 2015. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but it would have had a lot of, moolah coming in January. Okay,
I'm sure it would have been, yeah.
Okay. That's it. Okay, then Rogue One is going to be one of them. Civil War is going to be another
That's number
one of
2
them.
and 3 respectively.
And then the highest grossing movie this year, I'm trying, what the fuck else came out this year that was giant? It wasn't either of the DC movies. Oh my god. Moana.
Nope. Yes, gotcha, you son of a bitch.
So what was it?
Number 1, Finding Dory.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even think. One, I would not have called that.
It fucking smashed every other one too.
That's awesome. No, but I also didn't even think about Fantastic Beasts, which I imagine's done. Okay
it is
at this
not
point.
on there actually, because number 4 is Secret Life of Pets, which is another kids movie.
Secret Life
and number
of
5
Jesus
is
Christ.
yeah. Number 5 is Jungle Book.
Huh. Yeah,
I heard
would not
Jungle
have
Book
called
was
that.
actually not that bad, by the way.
I know, and for it to be that high grossing, it's already on Netflix. Maybe they're just like, damn, we've made our money 2 times over. Let's just let them have it. Like,
I might end up watching it now that I see it, but then again, maybe I don't know. When I see Secret
I've
Life
actually-
of Pets is on there, I mean, I want to see that with my kids. That'd be fun. But it just makes me think, you slobbering fucking idiots. Like that's really like number 4 on the list.
Well, I will say I've heard mostly good things about the live adaptations of Disney movies, barring Cinderella. And I haven't heard much about BFG, but I've heard Jungle Book and I've heard Pete's Dragon. Both were solid. And then Beauty and the Beast doesn't look bad as of now, so we'll see.
All right, my friend, you ready for your punishment?
Oh, punishments. Okay. Yep.
All right. In this scenario, you are Christopher Walken pitching Zootopia to Disney executives.
Oh my God. Okay. So I've got a script, and the script's about these pets. And these pets, they got a fever, right? But they're not sure what's causing the fever. And ultimately, it's just this giant allegory for racism, right? And discrimination in society. I think the kids will love it. You know, Black Lives Matter, all these things. It's super popular this year. You know, everyone's dealing with like Trump on the other side. There's no way there's going to be a revolt. It's just going to be gangbusters. What do you say?
All right, that was really good, my friend.
I
I
feel
will
like
say it started off a lot stronger than it ended.
Yeah, man, like it's a very weird thing to like conversationally be a character. Like you just start to lose it and just be something weird.
Well, I'll tell you where you started to lose it was with the you-knows, because every time you said you know, you said it in your voice.
And then I just kind of became a New Yorker by the end of it.
Yeah. All right, that was good though. Honestly, way better than I'd have done. Good job.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, so final, you know what? Let's just breeze through here.
right.
Okay, so according to Metacritic, these are the top 5 films of 2016, just in terms of how they were rated both by critics and then also by their user base. And Metacritic, I find, generally speaking, is a pretty apt way of looking at the ratings of things and finding really good stuff. So, and let me just say, there's not a fucking chance in the world you're gonna get these. So suck it. But
Really?
okay, yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Moonlight's on there.
You piece of shit. Are you looking this up right now?
I'm not, but I've already looked at this list within the last week as we were doing
You
this show.
piece of shit.
So I'm not gonna probably get all 3. Because I'm recalling the top 10. Moonlight's on there. La La Land is on there.
You
Right?
fucker.
Okay, and then, God, let me think. I gotta think of like another like highfalutin.
I can hear
hoity-toity
your
movie.
phone tapping over there, you fucking
I'm
bastard.
not on. I promise you, I'm not on my phone. I'm legitimately not on my phone. I'm just trying
Is
to think.
Julia feeding you these?
No,
Julia,
she's-
get off
she's-
the line. Come on.
She's in bed. I'm just now trying to think of what a like indie movie that came out was that I didn't see. I don't know. I'm just gonna say Rogue One. I don't know.
Yeah, nice, in your face. Okay, that's rude.
You were amazing at La La Land and Moonlight.
Yeah, that is Moonlight is number 1, by the
Yeah.
way, which good for you for getting it. La La Land was number 5, which I really want to see. Number 2 is I Am Not Your Negro, and if you had guessed that, I'd have been so excited.
What if I just happened to randomly say it because I was upset about your bullshit games? And I was just like, you know, man, I am not your Negro. It just said this terribly
Ding, ding,
racist
ding.
thing, but it was just somehow ended up being the winner, chicken dinner.
That would have been pretty awesome. By the way, 3 and 4 are Manchester by the Sea, number 3. And then number 4 is Tony Erdmann.
Man, I don't feel bad about not knowing this at all.
Dude, I really wish you'd guessed I Am Not Your Negro. Oh, man.
Or
Okay,
if I
so...
just sneezed that you thought I said number 4.
Oh man, you are gonna hate this fucking punishment. By the way, it literally goes against the very fiber of your everything that makes you Mothman and Stoic Daddy.
Am I gonna have to like say good things about you?
Okay, here it is. You have to name 3 things that you genuinely appreciate that I contribute to Boob Tube Buddies, and go.
Oh God, I genuinely appreciate you doing the notes because I fucking hate doing notes. There's always going to be a spin word because it benefits me more than anything else. God, this is so hard, you know? Well,
You're such a fucking cunt. God damn you.
No, the reason it's hard is because, like, there's 9 movies in my head. I'm just trying to pick the top 3. That's all.
Oh, my God.
That's all. I like how you kind of, like, you know, play the ringmaster and check up on things and make sure things are running smoothly with all the various contributers.
The
right?
ringmaster. You make me sound like a fucking slave driver.
Well, I am not your Negro.
Oh, nice.
Okay. And then the last thing that I like that you do, more than anything, is just make me laugh.
Okay, all right. LOL, WTF. I feel very uncomfortable. Let's just move on.
Yeah, for those of you, that's code for any time I try. He's giving me a really hard time about just not being grateful. So every now and then I, say something gay to him.
On our group chat, by the way, everybody refers to him. I mean, no, not Mothman. Nobody calls him Mothman. Everybody calls him Stoic Daddy because he gives 0 praise.
Yeah, anytime someone posts in the group chat that they did something, it's basically a variation on, oh, that's great. Why weren't we doing this for the last 5 months?
Can I say, by the way, I totally finally understood the genesis of this Stoic Daddy thing, because Mothman and I were playing video games the other day with his dad. I'm telling this story.
Oh, you're great. You're absolutely allowed to.
Okay, so we're playing video games online with his dad the other day, and it's winding down. He's probably going to be heading to bed in a few seconds, and we're just all sitting there chatting, and then all of a sudden, his dad just big shots us and leaves without saying a word. Like, no good night, no goodbye, nothing like that. Just like, I'm a 65-year-old man, and I don't have time for your shit anymore. And then just logs off. That's it. And it's like, I get it. I get why we don't, sit here and talk about our feelings.
To be fair, my dad is like the most unlike me of anyone. I swear he probably just accidentally switched to the wrong chat, started talking, and then's like, oh, they can't hear me. Now I'm signing off. But
I can't wait to make fun of him for it next time we play Gears of War together.
I also can't wait to tell him you aged him an extra 5 years.
Oh, damn. Snap.
All right. Okay. That was a good game. Thanks, man. That's the 4th thing I appreciate you. Surprising me with games.
Okay, thanks, man. All right, so let's fire into TV shows. I feel very uncomfortable with all the compliments from you. Very unnatural.
So TV shows, these are going to be pretty quick because we've talked about so many TV shows, so I only have 7.
No, 7? You fucking cocksucker. You're not even joking when you say it. You totally seriously just said I only have 7. It's supposed to be 3, you fucking bitch.
To be fair, I mean, it's kind of true, but kind of not true. So I have 3, but my parameters is I wanted to pick new shows, right? Because it's easy to go back and say, like, this show I always love. It was great again, right? So my top 3 new shows in no particular order: Westworld, Stranger Things, and Preacher. As far as shows that are coming back, like that, I thought Game of Thrones was particularly good this year. I thought South Park was particularly good. Ash vs. Evil Dead was great. My God, my voice cracked. It's your fucking favorite.
It's like you're censoring yourself.
And Rick and Morty. I mean, there's been a lot of good repeat TV, but it was, I think, a very good year for new television. The OA is great.
Oh, it was a great year for TV.
A lot of new, intellectual properties out there. Those would be my 3, and then I just peppered in those other 5.
Okay, well, first off, let me just say my top 3, because I didn't do new or blah, blah. I just, like, the 3 things that I enjoyed most, their seasons this year, in order, was Game of Thrones, Westworld, Stranger Things. I fucking love them, but I wrote down a bunch of other stuff. Like, Black Mirror, to me, has been such an awesome surprise. I really love it, and a bunch of other things, too, like House of Cards is really good this year. I love the Daredevil, Luke Cage stuff. Obviously, we covered Luke Cage. Narcos is so fucking good. I love Narcos. And then, of course, we love HBO. You and I both do. For the most part, HBO doesn't have a lot of misses. Did you watch Vinyl by chance?
No, but you told me it was a piece of shit.
Oh, God, a fucking dumpster fire.
I would have tried it just because it's about the music industry and I just, enjoy that type of stuff. But then after reading a few scathing reviews and then having like firsthand someone I, for the most part trust, just not with my kids, say they liked it, I thought I'd try it.
I mean, I love the actors in it too. Like Bobby Cannavale, I think, is an awesome actor, and Olivia Wilde is a great actress and perfect leading lady type. And Ray Romano's in it, and he's funny, but he's also like a pretty good actor in a dramatic role.
Sure.
And so all the acting is great, but it's like, man, whoever wrote that script, so much of the show is about like this coke-fueled mania that this guy's going through, and it's just uncomfortable to watch, and it has very little point, and they scattered themselves. Like, man, I mean, if we're talking about our highlights of the year, I had to mention that was, to me, the ultimate low light in terms of the hype it had, the budget it was given, and then just what a steaming pile of shit they crapped out of the bottom of that production.
I don't think I really have any giant disappointments. I feel like as I've gotten older and busier and have less time for TV, and then once you start spending every show then another hour recapping it, I haven't watched a lot of stuff that just we weren't going to be involved in unless I heard good things about it. Like I'd wait till it was like 3 episodes in and hear what people think. Because I feel like definitely in years past, I've been more disappointed because I'd be actively looking for new stuff to find, get hyped about it based on previews and such, and then be let down. Like this is just one of those years where I feel like all I did was get pleased by television. Even The Exorcist on Fox, which I like a TV show not adapting, but like the same universe as this movie that's 40 years old, doesn't really need to be made on Fox, which isn't like the edgiest network. Like, they get away with some shit that's a pretty creepy show. Like, there's just more surprises than anything else.
That's awesome. I mean, there's a lot of comedies. You mentioned Rick and Morty. I love that. And Silicon Valley and Veep are always really good, too. Last Man on Earth was a really good show. I will say Last Man on Earth, I wish that they'd kind of stuck with the premise of it just being him for a little while long. I mean...
it was like 4 episodes in, and there was.
I don't even think it was that, dude. I think like at the end of the first episode, we see headlights or something. Like I think by episode 2 we had what is the name of that actress? She's so good.
Oh, Kristen Shaw. Yeah.
Is that
Kristen Shaw? That's like on Bob's Burgers and was on Daily Shows as a correspondent.
30 Rock, and I think she's really funny. But
too.
Now it's too much of an ensemble cast for me.
Yeah, I mean this season's still been funny. Actually a little bit darker.
It is dark.
I will say after the first episode of the first season, I was like, how long are they going to make this, entertaining? But I agree, like we could have done a whole arc with just him before other people started to show up because it escalated quickly ultimately. Really
quickly. Like, and even if she had come on and it had been an Adam and Eve type thing for a season almost, and then towards the end of it, like a couple, I don't know. But anyway, we don't need to get bogged down in that. In fact, I think it's up to you, but I think maybe we cut to one of the other guys and their little bit, their top 3 that hopefully they stuck to a bit more dutifully than their master. I think we're going to go ahead and go to Nathan and hear his picks. So have at it, Nathan. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Nathan, and early this year I recorded a few episodes of Boob Tube Buddies about Netflix's The Get Down and BoJack Horseman. Media in 2016 was touch and go for me, but there are a few titles that stood above the crowd. In television, number 3 is Better Call Saul. Saul continues to tread new ground, capturing the tone of Breaking Bad while causing me to all but forget that this takes place in the same environment. Though not as compelling as its predecessor, it keeps me wanting more, and that's about all I can ask for from good television in 2016. Number 2, The Night Of. The Night Of portrays a character who may or may not be guilty of a crime, but also doesn't fully let you in on whether or not you care. Your allegiance to Nasir Khan wanes as his own conviction does, and it's a refreshing change of pace for the genre. Number 1, BoJack Horseman. I can't believe I'm this compelled by a deadbeat drunk animated horse on Netflix, but BoJack Horseman tears down your perception of what you thought animation was meant for, consistently bending the medium and forcing contemplation when you never expect it. For video games, number 3 is World of Warcraft Legion. Legion revitalized World of Warcraft as a storytelling medium, implemented new systems to allow for better replayability, and is brilliantly keeping the game from getting stale during what Blizzard has seemingly set forth as a 2-year refresh cycle. Number 2, The Witness. Jonathan Blow gained popularity after the release of his indie hit Braid, but that doesn't stop his follow-up venture, The Witness, from feeling any less intimate or hand-designed. The Witness dazzles with puzzles and inventive new mechanics, while a pervading air of mystery surrounds the environment. You won't find any direct storytelling, but for what The Witness lacks in narrative, it more than makes up for in beauty and clever design. Number 1, Overwatch. Overwatch represents my favorite competitive multiplayer experience in many years, and it managed to do the impossible. Combine purely competitive and multiplayer shooter sequences with intriguing and inventive storytelling. Though Overwatch tells its story mainly environmentally, it's enough to make any player reach out for more. Gameplay is quick and fluid, and character diversity among its current 23 playable heroes promotes infinite replayability and crazy new experiences. Now for movies. Number 3, Arrival. Arrival packs an incredibly relatable punch into what altogether equates to a relatively intimate story, seeking to learn the language of another species. All of this culminates in a human observation about the cyclical nature of life that will leave you thinking about it for days. Number 2, Moana. Increasingly, and with rare exception, Disney princess films all follow a sort of augmented and customized hero's journey that you can always anticipate. A girl, usually inspired by a lack of trust from her father, finds herself restless for a world outside of the familiar and undertakes a brave adventure to escape that world. Moana, in short, is no exception to this rule. The difference is that Moana executes each and every beat of this story with heart and sincerity. Disney has their timing down, understanding exactly when to bring home emotion and when to lift it up with comic relief. All of this ends with a goosebumps-inducing finale that leaves the music of Lin-Manuel Miranda stuck in your head for weeks. Number 1, La La Land. I was nervous to see La La Land because if South Park has taught me anything this year, quite frankly, it's that nostalgia is getting old. 2016 was a year of television reboots with unnecessary titles such as MacGyver, X-Files, Full House, and Gilmore Girls all scoring poorly executed revivals as audiences search for media that doesn't tread new ground as much as it just reminds them of old ground they used to love. La La Land's trailer seems to scream, "Member Gene Kelly?" I was wrong. La La Land took my breath away. A sweepingly gorgeous, wonderfully charming musical that borrows little more than style from Golden Age musicals. Its reference to film's history falls more in line with the artist than with The Force Awakens. Altogether, La La Land inspires and dazzles with performances that will be remembered and direction that should be admired. And hey, if 2016 gave you the need to remember Singing in the Rain, well, it's got that too.
And we are back. Thank you, Nathan, for your contribution. Unfortunately, I've not seen any of his top 3 movies at this point. I've heard great things about all of them. So
I haven't either. I'm dying to.
yeah, they're not factoring in. Better Call Saul was great. Night of, I only watched the first one. BoJack, I watched in its entirety this year, like all 3 seasons, and it's just a great cartoon. Game-wise, I've heard a lot about The Witness and Overwatch. I really want to do Overwatch, but it's just like we're already doing Gears of War, and it's like there's only and Rainbow Six, so it's like I got to get through some of these other multiplayer games out of my blood first, you know?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't. The thing is, I would say I don't like competitive games, and I would say I also don't like shooters, but I guess that's not entirely true because we're playing Gears of War and we love that. We played Rainbow Six together, like even back in the older installments, and I love that. So I guess that I really just don't like Battlefield and Call of Duty.
Yeah, and there's this game we used to play called Shadowrun that like failed and was panned, and I think the reason is because they tried to use the property of this old RPG and it was just nothing like it. But what we liked so much about it was the fact that it was a shooter that was competitive, but each type of person like was a class with actual powers, not just different guns. That
Which
really
made every game like very varied.
Yeah, and like from the videos I've seen of people playing Overwatch and just the stories that Nathan's told me, like it's something I definitely want to jump in on. But this might be a good segue to talk about the best games, which I only have 8.
No, you don't. Suck my fucking dick. You do not have 8 for real.
No, I have 3.
Oh, good for you. Okay, let's hear it.
You know, with 4 more I'll mention. Actually, there are ones I didn't. There are ones I didn't play. There's ones I wanted to get to and didn't. So, okay. Uncharted 4 would be my favorite of the year. The Uncharted series is flawless. I've talked a handful of people into getting like PS3s back in the day just for that franchise, and it's totally worth it. PS4, by the way, now has all 3 of them on it, plus the new one. It's incredibly like graphically intense. Like it's just almost photorealistic. It's just a gorgeous game. But if you like adventures, it blends my like childhood joy of platformers like Mario, especially 3D platformers where you jump around, but it blends that with just liking action. So there's also like shooting elements to it. And it's actually one of the few games that Julia has just watched me play some of them in their entirety, because unless you're dying and retrying, it's very much like watching a movie. The other one is Gears of War 4. Campaign was a lot of fun. This is the first one that's not from the like Epic Games, the original creators, but they've captured the feel, and the multiplayer modes, Horde mode that Fox and I are playing, is just as fun as ever. And then lastly is they did a remake of Ratchet and Clank, which was like an early 2000s PS2 game, and I loved it then. I picked it up for like $10 on Black Friday like 2 weeks ago, and first time I've been super addicted to a game in a while. I beat it in like 3 days.
Wow.
And it's part of it. It really does feel like you're playing a Pixar movie. Like it's gorgeous, really good sense of humor, and then on top of that, just the gameplay is really addictive. But like all three of those, I didn't play a whole lot of new stuff this year. I felt like I was buying the highly rated stuff from last year's lists, especially on discount. But those are the three that were launched this year that I played that like I could not recommend highly enough.
I guess I didn't look like thoroughly at one of mine to see if it actually did release the year before, but I know for a fact on Xbox One, which is what I have, it was pretty news. Okay, so first off, my number one was Ark Survival Evolved, which is kind of like, I don't, if you crossed Minecraft with Turok the dinosaur hunter, it's like you start off in a loincloth on the beach, and you have to start punching a tree just to get some wood and thatch and pick up some stones to make yourself some basic tools. And the whole time, like, you're at risk of dinosaurs killing you. But then eventually you build your way up, and you can play it online with people. You can be in tribes. People can just come and snatch you with a gigantic bird, take you and imprison you in their bases. And yeah, so like by the end, you're taming these huge dinosaurs. I've been part of like big dinosaur wars on there where like we're taking in multiple Tyrannosaurus Rexes and like these huge flying birds and all like just, you know, all sorts of other things, and just attacking other people's bases. And we'll fly in and we'll build platforms on the gigantic birds and put like war drums on them. And so we'll have 4 of us on there, 1 piloting, 2 people playing in sync, having like these huge war drums doing like do 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 do. And then the 4th person, which is usually me, I'll have 2 different flare guns out and just shooting them off in different directions, so it's like fireworks basically. And we'll have trailing behind us, running through the forest below us, like just like a wave of dinosaurs basically ready to go and assault somebody's base. And it's just really fucking fun.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen you play it. It's a really cool concept. Builders I enjoy. There's one that came out this year that I haven't played but also got good reviews, called Dragon Quest Builders, and it's like a mix between almost like a Zelda, like it's an RPG but it's action RPG, and Minecraft.
Oh, that's
that
cool.
It looks kind of gorgeous. I wish Ark had a bigger budget and it had like the graphics of GTA, because the multiplayer
the graphics
like,
are
social aspect is amazing to me.
Yeah, it is. You're right. The graphics are definitely not the selling point. I think they look passable, but that's it. They're not anything special. But the next game actually does look really good, and the gameplay is what makes it unbelievably cool. Is Rocket League is so fucking fun, and I love that. I mean, especially like you were saying, you just don't have a lot of time for gaming. Rocket League, you can sit down and bust out a full game, like, because loading is not long in it at all. You could probably, from the moment you click on the game, be finished with the first one. It's like 6 minutes later. So it's just action-packed, high octane, really good graphics, and just like fun.
Sure. For me, that's my game like that is Clash Royale, just because it's like a set time limit, and I really enjoy it. I played Hearthstone pretty heavily last year, but the problem with Hearthstone is depending on like their deck and your deck, and you know, defensive and offensive measures, sometimes it's a 3-minute match. I've had ones that were like half an hour. So I like a game where I know like there's a time limit, and I just want to have a few minutes to kill. So most of this year for me, that was Clash Royale, which I think is a pretty well done game. But I played Rocket League with you, and it's pretty tricky. I actually saw some videos online of like competitive players. Like, it's kind of crazy how good people have gotten at this thing.
Oh yeah, like I'm pretty good. My record is very solid, but there are people that would just blow me out of the like. I've watched some of the videos online too on Reddit. Sometimes they'll show up on the gaming subreddit, and some of the stuff people do on there, it's like, god damn, like it's just unbelievable. But I'll list my final one, and it's gonna sound like maybe a stupid one, but honestly, it was such a revolutionary game for the fucking 10 minutes that I played it that I had to put it on there. I thought that PokemonGo could have been a lot more, but I thought that for the time that I did play it, and getting out and walking and spending time with my daughter playing it, PokemonGo I thought was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, PokemonGo certainly got a decent amount of time from me. As someone who liked the old Pokemon games, but also haven't really played them because they're not on consoles.
Yeah, they missed out on a lot of the best parts.
Yeah, I mean, I think the trading aspect, me being able to go up to you and fight and not need a gym, but a lot of that apparently is all planned, like, updates for year 2. So we'll see what that turns into, because at this point it's now been months since I picked it up, but I otherwise enjoyed it. This year there's a few games I didn't get to play that I wanted to. I love the original Doom, and the new one went on a lot of best of lists. Like, apparently it's just a blast. It's like a remake.
Yeah, I
of the
didn't play
original.
it either. I wanted to. Yeah,
I mean, it's on pretty good discount right now, so I might pick it up. Last Guardian has been this game, Shadow of the Colossus. Did you ever play that?
Of course.
Yeah, so that studio that did that and Ico, this is their third game, yet it's been in development for like legit a decade. It was going to be a PS3 title.
Wow.
Finally launched. And ended up on a lot of lists. Like, I mean, I think there's also that like stigma of, it's not perfect, and yet it took this long. But
yeah, you know what? I will say on the gaming subreddit, a lot of people talk about how fun it is and how awesome it is, and everybody has the exact same complaint that very clearly it was built for a graphics engine that's a little obsolete because it looks very similar to the old games, and not necessarily all in a good way in terms of like a game like that that's so much about the look of it and the scale. Sure. They really could have made use of the new technology, but because it was in production for so long, it just wasn't in the cards.
Yeah, it became this thing where they already had to spend, I'm sure, a lot of time and money just converting what they had over to work with PS4, much less making it look, even prettier and taking advantage. So anyway, I still want to play it. And then another one that I don't actually know much about other than the studio. Did you ever play the puzzle game Limbo?
No, never even heard of it.
It was pretty popular on 360 along with like Braid. It was like this very Tim Burton looking thing where it's a puzzle game. Everything is a silhouette outside of the enemies, and lots of little like puzzles you have to go through. It was fantastic, but they finally put out a new game called Inside that's been getting a lot of reviews, but I couldn't tell you the first thing about it other than I've heard it's good.
Okay. All right. Very cool. You want to throw real quick to Devin, who has his top 3 list, and Devin, well, I'm sure he'll introduce himself.
Sound diverse
with Devin.
Happy New Year, Boob Tube Buddies. It's your pal Devin from the Ash vs. Evil Dead podcast, here to give you my suggestions for what made 2016 bearable. For me, obviously, we'll start with television. Of course, you need to check out Ash vs. Evil Dead. Was fantastic. Stranger Things was phenomenal. I'm always a sucker for Archer. Always watch the new season. If we're going to talk anime, I'm also a big fan of anime. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is always a good time. Erased was fantastic. I'm hoping that gets picked up for a live action. And Psycho Mob 100 is good for those who like a little bit of wild and zaniness. Video games, this was the year of waiting, finally getting the payoff with Final Fantasy 15. It is worth your time. Dark Souls 3 was also fantastic if you're a glutton for punishment, and Uncharted 4 gives Nathan Drake's story a nice boost. If we're going to talk film, obviously Disney killed it this year. Moana and Zootopia were fantastic, and it's nice to see Deadpool making and breaking some records. It hasn't been seen since Beverly Hills Cop. Nice, raunchy, funny date night. So I hope everyone has a great start of the year, and we'll be talking to you all soon.
And we are back from our final segment. Zootopia, Deadpool, Stranger Things keep getting brought up. Uncharted 4. For our anime listeners, hopefully, you'll appreciate it. I don't think I watched a single thing new this year other than Dragon Ball Super. It's mostly been like everything else, just watching stuff that's finished that's gotten critical acclaim. But at this point, do you have any odds and ends that you'd like to recommend, Fox?
Well, here, you go ahead and start it off with some of your little odds and ends.
So for music, it was a really good year for music, but recommendation-wise, David Bowie's Black Star is absolutely phenomenal, as well as his last album that he did before that. It's also kind of a weird, dark piece of art because it lyrically is very much about kind of his death to an extent. Like the lyrics are kind of crazy, obviously about him being sick and other things, but very good album. The thing about Bowie is just because you like some of Bowie's stuff in the 70s, there's no guarantee you'll like it because he kind of changes genres, but I really enjoyed it. Esmeralda Spalding has an album out. She's like a jazz artist. I think her prior albums were a little less produced, like more like stripped down sound, but her album Emily D's Plus Revolution is just this weird kind of psychedelic jazz album with amazing production. She has a killer voice. She is amazing at bass. But what I love so much about it is nothing sounds traditional. Like it's all weird chords, but it's also very like catchy and melodic. I definitely recommend you add that. All of these I'm mentioning are on Apple Music and Spotify. And lastly, the first Metallica album in like 8 years, Hardwired to Self-Destruct, did not disappoint. I have a soft spot in my heart. It's the reason I picked up a guitar at 11. But there's a lot of bands I listened to like early on when I was into guitar, like Dream Theater and these other bands that they put something new out. It just doesn't do it for me, like the old stuff has nostalgia there. I still might listen to it. But Metallica is one of the few bands that like that, whatever, that formula they have for whatever reason just always strikes a chord with me. Pun intended.
Nice. Well, my little odds and ends is actually just another podcast that I want to recommend, which I know it's probably not the smartest idea to sit here and recommend other things in the medium, but I fucking love podcasts. I listen to them
too, man.
We're doing this because we love podcasts, and I just have to say that, and it's a big one in the genre that a lot of people have heard of, but if you have not listened to Hardcore History before with
great.
Dan Carlin, it's just, it's honestly like one of the pinnacle achievements of what you can do on a podcast in terms of production value and being interesting and informative, and they are long. That's like, I get into one of his series and it's like 3 or 4 episodes, all of which are like 220 to 300 minutes long, and it's just like, so basically for free I'm getting just like days worth of content, and it's fucking fascinating.
I've not listened to a tremendous amount of them, but I've listened to a few and really dug them. I listened to the whole one about the like Kublai Khan, Genghis Khan and all that, and I found out
that's actually the next one that I'm going to get to. I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff in there, like just a whole different world. Like he just really brings history, which isn't a subject a lot of times that I enjoy, to life. I found out about it on the Joe Rogan show. One thing I found out about this year is he also does a political podcast called Dan Carlin's Common Sense, which honestly I'd recommend to anyone just because he's independent. So he has a lot of views that don't line up with mine, but also some that do. And he's just kind of a really smart, interesting guy that obviously has a tremendous amount of historical context. So he's very, very well read. So it's one of those things where whatever's going on with the news, he does them fairly regularly. It's definitely a nice little piece of input outside of the bubble that I think a lot of us kind of stay in with, our respective leanings. The only other thing I want to bring up is if you like Alan Moore or you like H.P. Lovecraft, there's a comic that's just about to finish called Providence. it's in single issues, but it'll start being collected into, a graphic novel pretty soon here. That is just this amazing examination of the Lovecraft mythology, but also kind of who he was as a person, and like the more troubling things about him just being like a racist, and like just kind of the struggle between, like, I like a handful of Kanye songs, but I think he's terrible. But am I okay with listening to Kanye even though I don't like him? That struggle with, like, is it about the art or the artist?
Yes. It's like watching a Roman Polanski movie, or even to maybe a slightly lesser degree, like a Woody
Allen movie.
Yeah.
No, I agree. But he just kind of encapsulates all these things while also examining the current, like, impact. Because I've been into Lovecraft since, I don't know, it was like 10, because it was a Metallica song was called Call of Cthulhu, and it kind of introduced me to it.
Ride the Lightning?
Yeah, off of Ride the Lightning. And they actually have another song on Master of Puppets that referenced it, and the new album has a Cthulhu reference as well. So they've been fans for ages. That introduced me, but I guess the last, like, decade or so, it's just become this giant, like, resurgence. Like, it's just part of pop culture now. And it's in South Park. It's like comedy references. A lot of people that don't know who H.P. Lovecraft is know who Cthulhu is. Like, so it's also examining that and how that happens, and the whole, once an artist dies, this is, 80 years later, and he's really becoming, like, super popular,
Yeah, fucking Van Gogh over there.
Yeah. I don't know. You have anything else before we put a bow on this bitch? I mean, that was it was a good year for art.
But just as always, wanted to thank everybody for tuning in. To all the fans that supported us during our first calendar year here at Boob Tube Buddies. Thank you so much. To the ones who have written in and actually, like, kind of become like an interactive part of the show, looking at you, Brookie Brookie, Shy, and to all of the other hosts here that we have, Devin, Nathan, Bethany, Kristen, Michael's contributions. We even had Lauren and Jamie on an episode, and the long lost, I don't even know if I'm allowed to mention his fucking name, Dan, fucking genius. I just, like, I've had a great time doing this, and just really appreciate everybody being a part of it. And again, as always, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Reddit. We seriously love hearing from you guys, and tell a friend about the show. It really helps out. We put a lot of time and effort into it, and not looking to make a lot of money or anything, but just hoping to kind of increase our listenership and everything like that moving into 2017. So, I mean, unless you got like a big old spiel you want to do, another bit, you can go ahead and tie a bow on this bitch.
So, I mean, I would just say I also have had an amazing time doing this. 2016, although a shitty year in many respects, it's one that had a lot of great art, and I think that'll continue this next year, or this year we're in now. We're going to also do a excited about 2017 show where we're going to examine all the things we want to see this year. I've had a blast doing the show. Thank you to all the people that have contributed. Also, this new year, as we have more followers, like, definitely be vocal, because what we're looking for is to see what all of you enjoy the most. We kind of took an approach where we just did a whole bunch of shows, a whole lot of content. Now we're going to probably up the production value and do less shows, but at the same time, like, we're going to, we've never done a best of podcast. We're doing more movies. We're potentially doing series recaps instead of every single episode. So we're open to experimenting. We want your input, and thank you so much for listening. Other than that, we will see you in a week to talk about this year, little buddies.